think it's actually a credible theory.
Okay, here's the article. Scientific American, October 2004, page 62. If amphibians evolved before mammals, why do some amphibians have 5 times more DNA than mammals, and some amoeba have 1,000 times more DNA than mammals?
And
Jonathan's point.
And a lungfish has 30 times as much DNA as we have.
Okay,
okay, first of all, have you ever heard of a chromosome duplication?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's your answer.
There's my answer? Are you saying it's just simply duplicated information, it's not new information? That's what you're implying.
Why couldn't it be duplicated information? And why isn't that new information?
A polyploidy? That's not new information.
Sure, why not? You could just then change those genes are free to evolve however they want. But now you're just drawing the problem away from the point I was making about common ancestry, because this has nothing to do with common ancestry.
Well, you're totally...
I consider this actually an incredible victory for me, because it's clear that you don't want to discuss common ancestry.
Martin, you said to disprove common ancestry, I think this was the only example you gave, was to find a plant cell within a dragonfly, and that would disprove common ancestry?
That's one example of how you could do it. There's many different ways of doing it.
Okay, now, wait.
Now, wouldn't a creationist be shooting himself in the foot to do that?
No, because God can make things however He wants, and you would just have proven that there were no restrictions on how He could make things.
See, here's the problem, Martin. If a person who believes in evolution is doing the classification, then the classification will always fit their evolution theory.
Sure, but that's the thing. Because they have a classification, they've built a rigorous tree that now you cannot have violations in it. All you need to do to test it, you as a creationist, go into the lab, take their tree that they produce, and study any of these organisms based on the character distribution provided by the tree, and find a counterexample that has to come from way off on another branch of their same tree that they do.
Let me try to give you one. Are there any animals that you know of that contain chlorophyll?
There are none that I know of, no.
Okay. Is that because if it contains chlorophyll, it's no longer classed as an animal?
No.
I've actually got tomatoes.
No, see, that's exactly where you missed the point.
I've got tomatoes and lettuce right now, so that's plant cells within.
Jonathan has chlorophyll in him right now. He had lettuce earlier.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
That disproves common ancestry.
This is not about similarity. This is not about individual characters. This is about unique combinations of characters. Chlorophyll and a cell wall in a dragonfly would not end up classified as a plant. It would be classified as, what the heck is this?
Okay.
I mean, that would be a violation of the nested set. That's a perfect example of how to test it.
Okay, hang on, Martin. You're totally missing Jonathan's point. He asked you earlier, how would you falsify your evolution theory? You've told us 20 ways you would prove it. How would you falsify the evolution theory?
I just explained how you would falsify
Find a pine cone growing out of somebody's head.
Find a pine cone in somebody's head.
That would prove that humans and trees are not related.
Are there any plants that move?
No, actually, that's a very good example, showing a human growing a pine cone out of its head would be something that evolution could not explain, because...
Oh, come on.
No, because pine cones belong to pine trees, which are a separate clade that all belong to a separate common ancestor, and that this feature, pine cones, is a unique attribute which defines that group.
That would not disprove it. That would simply, if anything, modify the evolutionary theory.
You clearly don't understand the basic premises upon which the theory of common ancestry is based. You would never think that.
Okay. It's built. The theory of common ancestry is built on the assumption that evolution is true, and therefore it's not.
No, it's not actually. It's built on the assumption of actually a very strongly supported mathematical assumption that nested hierarchies are generated by branching processes.
Okay, we got to close in 2 minutes. Let me just ask you one final question here. And I ask this to everybody that believes in evolution, if I get an opportunity to ask them. Have you accepted the evolution theory because you really think there's scientific evidence, or because this creation theory would affect your lifestyle if you accepted it?
I accept it because not only do I believe that there's good evidence for it, but I've actually seen and handled much of that evidence on a daily basis.
You've seen evidence that dogs produce non-dogs?
No, because I'm not saying, or nobody's ever said that dogs produce non-dogs. But I have seen very good evidence that dogs have come from another ancestor that is closely related to other carnivorous mammals.
Well, you are certainly welcome to believe that. However, I don't
I
think you
know,
understand.
Kent. I've heard all of this before. But
Yeah,
it was nice talking to you. Have a good evening.
Hey,
and
thank you.
Have
Call
a great
in
show.
anytime or instant message us anytime. Glad to have you on the program. Well, folks, we're about out of time here. People are certainly welcome to believe that, but that is a religion, if I ever heard it, and I resent paying for that to be taught in the school system. So, that's our stand here, and we are not government-funded, and we take the position that somebody wants to believe that dragonfly and a platypus have a common ancestor. That's wonderful. I don't want to pay for that to be taught in the school. That it violates common sense and violates observations. We see dogs produce dogs, no exceptions that I'm aware of.
I didn't quite understand. See, he went through and he was showing different properties that different organisms share. See, a dragonfly and a platypus are both bilaterally symmetrical, and therefore they have a common ancestor. But what about, the different nautiloids and stuff like this? They're not bilaterally symmetrical. These nautiloids aren't.
Wait, my swing set is bilaterally symmetrical. It's got a chain on each side. It is, Jonathan.
I think it's just
and the bicycle wheel is radial symmetry. That's related to starfish.
Yeah.
Approved. Okay. Well, there we have it, folks. All right. If you want to instant message us, it may be too late. Dr. Dino Live, DrDinoLive. We appreciate the calls from Sweden. We get calls from all over. I still have to disagree, and I think never seen an exception to 2 Peter chapter 3. The reason people scoff at the Bible view is not because they have a real scientific evidence, but because of